You never know how far something will be able to take you as long as you got some belief in it and you really give your all to it.
Welcome to Acting Smarter Now. I'm Lydia Nicole, actress, producer, and your acting career coach, dedicated to helping you break through the noise, own your craft, and help take your career from undiscovered to unstoppable. Got a question for you today. What if the project you're most afraid to make is the one that gets your work seen? Well, today I am joined by that magnificent actor writer, Mr. Melvin Taylor II. He's the creator of the short film Baldi, a raw, funny, and true story of a young man facing hair loss. He submitted this film to over 60 film festivals, and he is going to give us a little mini master class on what you need to do in order to submit your short film. You don't want to miss this. So, without further ado, let's go to the interview. As you are building your career as an actor and a creator, at what point did you realize that waiting for permission wasn't the move? And what was your mindset that you said, I'm going to go for what I want and I'm not waiting for anybody to give me anything?
I would say the moment that I knew that, hey, I can't sit back and wait for this thing to happen was probably I was still working in advertising at the time. And I had these thoughts and dreams of like, oh, I'm gonna be like John Draper. Like, this is amazing. Like, I'll be able to do it. And the more time I spent in that cubicle, and I would look ahead and be like, okay, I would go from this cubicle that I'm in to the cubicle across from me to the tiny office in front of me to then the offices down the hall, and then maybe if I'm lucky enough, I'll be able to get my manager's office that might have a bathroom with it. So I will have a little bit more privacy. And I would sneak out on my lunch breaks to go and do auditions and then come back. And I would see so many of my peers either just like grinding it out and saying, I'm working at a coffee shop, I'm doing this, that, or the other. And that time in between where I'm hustling back to the office to try and get there so that way nobody knows that I'm missing would be the times in which they would be going to two, three, four other auditions. And I'm just really saying to myself, like, if I'm going to do this, I really got to give it everything that I have because me being half in, half out isn't going to work in the way in which I wanted to. Like nobody's, to my knowledge, has been plucked out of a 9 to 5 lifestyle to being able to be like, here's everything that you ever wanted. So I said at that point, I need to creatively figure out how to be able to, of course, take care of my bills, take care of my expenses, but allot myself the most time that I can to being able to make this happen. Because if I don't, I'm going to regret it sitting here in this cubicle or maybe one of these offices moving forward.
So let's talk about time management because what you're talking about has a lot to do with how you set up your time. You mentioned you needed to pay your bills, so that means you still had to have a job in order to see your dreams come to pass. Acting is not a cheap hobby. You have to invest a lot of time, a lot of finances in it. It's kind of like being a doctor. You got to pay those high college bills in order to end up being the doctor that you want. And it takes years. So with acting, you decided, okay, there's got to be another way. So, but I have a day job. I have a job that I got to get done in order to get a paycheck, in order to start to live my dream. How did you start budgeting your time, first of all?
If I'm being totally transparent, it came to a point of, listen, you have to do what you have to do. And that meant when I'm at my 9 to 5, like when I have my lunch break, and outside of that, everything else that I'm doing is totally dedicated to this. Prior to moving into acting, I was doing like hosting, and I was also doing radio as well. So it would be during my lunch break, I was editing, and then afterwards, I'm like, okay, I know my show is from this time to this time, so I'm going to sleep at this time, so that way I can be up to catch the train to be able to go. Once it transitioned into acting, it became the same thing of on my lunch break, how far is it that I have to go? Maybe I'm leaving a little bit early, but I'm getting at work a little bit earlier. So that way, as I'm gone, nobody's truly noticing. So that way I can still make it back in time. And then when 5 o'clock hits, all my work needs to be done because now I'm already clocking in to everything else that I have to do, whether that's a class, whether that's an audition, whether that's a reading or something that I'm doing at that point. All of the other time needs to be dedicated towards that. And it's really just breaking it up into hours. Okay. From 5:15 to 7:15 I might be doing this. From 7:30 to 8:30 I'm going to be doing this. And then at night, and am I watching a movie to research how this actor is doing this role? Am I reading a script? Like, what else could I be doing to continue to improve myself? Or am I looking to see, hey, where's there a play that's going on locally, whether that's if I'm living uptown at that point in time, or is there something going on in Jersey that I can be a part of, or is there some auditions downtown that I can go do? Where can I go and get my fix in a sense to be able to keep myself upright and to stay hungry for everything that I'm doing? Because it's too easy to get a little lackadaisical and be like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break for right now, and then I'll come back to it. But that break ends up being way longer than what it is that you need to be. So it truly came down to these few hours that I have. Everything needs to be budgeted for reading, for writing, for stretching myself, and it became a similar thing when I started doing sketch and improv comedy as well. I would say, okay, after work, I'm going to watch these shows with my peers because I want to know how they're staying on top of things. Okay, when I was at UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade doing shows, I know that some of the Daily Show writers are doing shows on Mondays and or on Tuesdays. Can I go into some of those shows to see what are they talking about? What jokes do they have? Who's coming to their show? So that way I can see on the business end, how are they setting this up to be able to invite people there for them to move on to the next stage. So really just taking a look at the whole scope of things to catapult myself into as much success as possible.
What made you want to write a short for yourself?
Honestly, it came from me during the pandemic. I was watching some films, and I remember saying to myself, it was a similar thing that happened when I first got into acting, where I was like, I think I could do this. But and going back to that point of like, okay, what made that decision for me? I was sitting there thinking, nobody's about to cast a guy with glasses that's losing his hair at this point in time. So like, what can I do to be able to really put myself out there? And in writing, Baldy was not my first short. It was the second short that I wrote. And it was the one that I felt more passionate about at the time.
Let's start with the first one, The Fruit It Bears.
So the Fruited Bears was a short that a colleague, funny enough, that I met through the 9 to 5 had wrote. And him and I had met. He was like, hey, I'm looking for somebody for this role. And I was saying, hey, listen, I'm around. I'd be more than happy to audition. Let's see what happens. But this is where persistence comes in, right? Very thankful for the directing duo, Rodney and Brittany Brown, who put that together, who put that short together. I met them at a networking event, like a power hour kind of thing, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have auditions. It was just stay in touch." And I was like, "Cool." Time passes by, and this is like months later, and I'm like, "Man, whatever happened to that short? Like, I wonder if anything ever occurred." And I just happened to hit him up on Instagram. It was like, "Hey, did anything ever come of that short that you guys made? Like, do you guys have any auditions?" And they were like, "Actually, we're auditioning right now. Do you want to come in?" And I was like, "Uh, sure, like, yeah, I guess I can do this." But what made that moment so special for me, like, granted, like, was I still nervous? Absolutely. But what made that moment so special for me was that going back to that budgeting of the time, because I have been watching movies, because I have been reading things, because now when I am watching TV shows, I'm paying more attention to what type of characters this person playing, why are they playing it that way, trying to see what their arc is over the season so I can see where the nuances are. And because I'm also auditioning at this point in time and always trying to keep myself in that mode, now when I go to this, as nervous as I am, I do feel more prepared. In one, I kind of already know them a little bit, but two, I feel that much more confident in myself and what I can portray at this point in time being here. So yeah, this might be a cold read. Sure, I might not look the part like what everybody else does, but I can damn tell you that I'm gonna give you everything that I got, and you're gonna have to give me some consideration based off the strength of, man, he really came in here and just gave it his all. So it was just a really special time, a really special short, and I'm very thankful for them because that was the first short that I truly got to lead. And seeing behind the scenes was really cool for me because I saw them put everything together. And once I was able to piece that with everything that I learned from working on set, then I was able to say, okay, when I do my next short, I want to make sure that I'm taking everything that I've learned and putting it into that. Because prior to doing The Fruited Bears, myself and a co-writer of mine, Maxime Haig, we came up with a short web series that we were going to shoot. This had to be like 2017, 2016, 2017. And when I tell you, everything that could go wrong did. It will never see the light of day. We were stuck in the edit bay for forever. And I just remember like thinking at the time, I was like, man, like he said that he knows how all this goes. So like what's going on? Like what are we doing wrong? And then as I begun to do more productions, I started to see, oh my God, we were doing everything wrong. And we were just throwing it all on him. He was directing, writing, producing. This is way too much. And I remember going to him and promising him, hey, whenever we do something else, that will never happen again. I promise you, you will not feel overwhelmed. We will make sure we have all the resources that we need. Everything will go much smoother next time. So, from then all the way up until when we got to Baldy, it was just preparation.
Tell me all the wrong things. List all the wrong things that happened on this short.
First of all, we like I did some writing on it. He did most of the writing on it. He was also directing it. He was also our primary producer and our primary funder. We had our camera guy was also our lighting guy, was also our props. We had other actors. Hey, if you're not in the scene, you need to help with the props. Oh my goodness, we're hungry. Hey, somebody go get some pizza. Hey, do you know anybody that does makeup? Can you find somebody? Okay, now we're spending all the money that we have on the makeup department, which which we definitely needed at that point in time for some of the actresses and some of the other actors that we had. But it wasn't up to the level of, oh, this is a well-run production. It was very much we flying by the seat of our pants. We kind of have no idea what we're doing. We're just trying to shoot this and just put it out and just see what happens and hope that magic happens. And that's not the way that things work whatsoever. When you get to shorts that truly have a plan and that know what they're doing and how they're going to market it, how they're going to shoot it, they're already thinking, 5, 6, 7 steps ahead. It's just night and day difference. And then also put that much stress on one person. We don't have a scripty. So our director, writer, producer is also being the scripty. He's also trying to figure out the lighting over here. We're losing daylight. So now we're trying to, can somebody run to Best Buy or run to Walgreens and get some additional lighting? And then I'm over here like trying to memorize my lines because we're changing stuff on the fly and people are getting frustrated. I'm like, why are you frustrated? Like, this is what happens, right? This is how we do things. And as I got into it, as I said, then I'm learning, oh, there's somebody for every single job. Like, it's not just one person doing 20 different things. And if you have one person doing 20 different things, unless they're Superman, it's not going to be a great production. So once I was able to learn, we need a scripty, we need a gaffer, we need a grip, we need separate HMU departments. We need somebody to just hold the camera, bro. You don't even have to pull focus. Just hold the camera so that somebody else can pull focus. Once we started getting into all of that, then I was like, okay, now I'm understanding how this goes. Now I'm seeing that while we all look at the director and the director is the person that, oh, they have this, oh, they have that, there's so much more that goes into it, so much more help. We had other actors being ads and they didn't even know they were ads. They were just like, all right, cool, flipping through the script. You can hear the script play just flipping in the background because we don't have anybody that's really doing sound. Our sound guy, I think, ended up taking some of the equipment because he was like, y'all don't really know what y'all doing, so it's fine. It was just all bad.
So from that, then you go into Fruit It Bears. So what stood out for you in that production that you're watching behind the scenes?
The first thing I'll say that stood out to me was that the actors, all we did was act. Like if they absolutely needed something, then we could step into it. But they made a point of saying, "You don't do anything but act. That's all I need you to focus on. Don't worry about no. Oh, what time is it to eat? If you need something, just ask for it. We'll get it for you. We don't need you to hold any camera. We need you to hold any lights. We just need you to show up and give us the best performance possible on camera." So that alone was already like, oh, okay, this is a little bit better. From there, I'm seeing that we have multiple camera people, we have multiple sound people, we have multiple grips, multiple gaffers, we have somebody that's on script. We have an editor that they're already talking to, so that way they can have an idea of what they want, or they've already storyboarded so much that they know what they are and are not going to use for this project. So just being able to see that was me already saying, okay, I see what it is that we did wrong last time, and I'll make sure that on the next one, that won't happen to us.
So now you start writing Baldy. Give us the premise of the film for those people who haven't seen it.
So the premise of the film is we follow this young man named Travis, who his birthday is coming up. His friends want to throw him a party. The woman that he likes is going to be there, but he's trying to figure out if he can get a haircut in time because he is losing his hair, and he has a little bit of social anxiety from the fact that I take my hat off around people, I'm immediately being judged. I don't know what they're thinking of me. I don't know how to act. I don't know if they're going to say anything about it. So a lot of his decisions and how he moves through the world at this point is based on whether or not he can or cannot wear his hat. And that's where the story begins. And from there, you just get to see him over 24 hours figure out, is he going to make this party? Because the girl that he likes is going to be there. His friends are throwing him this party. What's going to happen?
As you're writing it, what are you thinking about? How long is it going to be? Everything that you've learned, how are you bringing it forth in this script?
Great question. The thought of how long it was going to be started with me just saying, you know what? Let me, and this is what I try to do for a lot of my projects, let me write out everything that I have and then I can edit it down from there. Because I never want to cramp the original idea that I have or just feel as if, that's too much for this. Because you never know. That too much for this that you like cut out for later after you change the story two or three times might be the perfect ending or might be the perfect beginning for whatever version of the script that you're on at that point. So for me, it really came down to, okay, write the story out in its fruition, but also let's take as much of me as I can and put it into the script. I didn't want it to be, hey, I just wrote something that was, that's kind of cool or something that might have happened to me. I really wanted to take my own life experiences and put it in there because I know that through other people who are also losing their hair or other people who have lost their hair, we've bonded over some of these experiences. So I know that there are other people out there feeling the same way that I do. Like, say, for example, I know there are other people that was wearing the neo fedoras at the time or wearing the Kango hats that didn't have their hair cut. They were going somewhere, and the security guard said, "Hey, you can't wear that in here. You got to take that off." And they said, "Oh, I'm going home. I'm not going inside. Like all my friends, y'all go ahead. Y'all have a good time. I'm going elsewhere, or I'm just going back to the crib because I'm not going inside without a haircut and having to take my hat off." And at the time, I'm thinking, "Oh, this is like ludicrous. Like nobody's doing this." But as I'm talking to some of my peers, some people that are older than me that have gone through this, they were like, "No, that's happened to me too." And I'm like, "Okay, this is a universal thing. It isn't just me that's going through this." So then I know that if we're feeling this, there has to be more people that feel this.
So you write the film. Now it's production time. How are you getting the funding for it?
At this point in my career, I'm no longer working in the 9 to 5. I'm now working on set. Like I'm a set production assistant for some non-union work. I'm ADing. I'm doing whatever I can. One, to be able to obviously continue to pay bills and expenses, but two, so I can learn as much as I can. Because again, I'm not going into another production being like, all right, we got 5 people here and everybody's doing 7 different things. It's not happening. So at the time, I'm thinking, you know what? I just got a really good job on set. I've booked a few acting roles. I've saved up some money. I'm gonna shoot this thing completely out of my savings. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun. I'm really doing the whole like I'm doing a flip on the Robert Townsend. Oh, he did it all on a credit card. I'm doing it all out of my savings. It's gonna be great. This is gonna be fantastic. And then the strike happens. And the strike happens, and I'm like, I have to live. I have no other way of being able to do this right now. I can't shoot out of my savings, and I'm even saying to myself, well, if we cut the budget down, like maybe take like 7 grand out the budget, then maybe I can do it with like a little bit of my savings, and then the rest or most of my savings, and as we're just getting further into the strike, I'm quickly losing ground on, bro, I cannot do this out of my savings because I have no other way to eat right now. So it came down to me saying, I'm gonna have to crowdfund, or we just gonna have to shoot this on a shoestring budget. And that's the last thing that I'm gonna do. I'm like, I'd rather not shoot it than have to shoot it on a shoestring budget, just because I know the stress that that comes with, but also where I am in my career. I don't want that to be a representation of what I'm bringing into the industry and what people are gonna see when they see my work. I want them to be able to see I'm giving you all that I got. I'm going out and getting the best of what I have and being able to have that work. So I said, okay, if we're going to crowdfund, then that means that I need to look on these crowdfunding sites and see which one is going to be the best for me. At this point in time, Seed and Spark was the best one for me because it is for filmmakers and by filmmakers. So there are filmmakers who created this crowdfunding platform. So that way, filmmakers can feel that they get the best resources out of it. And one of the cool things on the back end of that is that as people were going to look to contribute to other projects, they happen to see our project. Or, case in point, we found people that ended up working on our project who was like, oh, Baldy, what is this about? Wow, I'm actually losing my hair. Let me email them and see if they actually need any help with their project. So it all came full circle in that sense. But in putting it together and raising the funds, it really came down to, if I'm going to do this, I have to put my entire life out there. Now, I already am to a degree with this story, but now I have to give you the backstory. I have to give you when I started losing my hair, what I thought was happening to me, the ups and downs that I was going through, how that helped me to get into this industry, how that kind of pushed me a little bit more to get into this industry, why I feel that this story is important now. I got to list all these things out so that way anybody that's reading through it is going to say, man, like, he really does care. He really wants to make this happen, and I want to help him make this happen. So it was honestly a scary time for me because I'm going back and I'm finding all the pictures of when my head just looks terrible. And I'm like, I have to put this out here for the world to see. And I don't know if I want to do this. But again, going back to, are you in or are you not? We can't do halfway in. We can't do halfway out, similar to our 9 to 5. You either gonna be in it or you're not gonna be in it. So what are you gonna do? We chose to dive all the way in, and I said, okay, we just gonna put up everything. Hopefully, people will resonate with the story. And at the same point in time, you could not get me to stop talking about it. Anybody and everybody that I was talking to at that point in time knew that I was going to begin crowdfunding for a story, because it's one thing to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to do this. I'll hit you up whenever we start doing it," right? But it's another thing for every time I'm seeing you in some way, shape, or form, you see me bringing this up, you see me talking about it, you're going to know that I care about it. And you're going to be like, okay, let me at least read it. Let me at least see what's going on. Maybe I don't have 2 grand to give. Maybe I only got $20 to give. But if that $20 helps him out a little bit, sure. I don't need this Uber Eats today. I don't need this Seamless today. It'll be fine, you know? So all of that played a role into it. And me just calling people, once we started crowdfunding, I was on the phone with everybody, treated it like I was in my 9 to 5. I'm from 8 to 6. I'm talking to everybody here in America, and then after 9 o'clock, if there's anybody overseas that I know, and it happens to be 8 a.m., hey, what's going on, man? It's been a minute since we talked. You going to get some coffee? You got 10 minutes? Let me talk to you real fast about what I'm doing with this film that I'm trying to do. Talking to everybody in my Rolodex to see who can help make it happen. And I didn't want to go to people that were in the industry because we were already going through the same thing. And I felt bad being able to having to go to somebody that's like, look, I know we both not working, but can you give me $20 to help me make my film? To me, that just would have reflected poorly. And I didn't want to do that to anybody. So I went through my own network of everybody that saw me going from everything that I had been doing since moving out into New York all the way up to being here and saying, you guys are the people that I'm going to rely on to make this happen. My network that knew me before I got into this business, because y'all have seen the transformation. Y'all have seen where I've come from and everything I've been able to do now. So I'm going to lay this with you and let the chips fall where they may.
Now, how did you come up with a budget? This it's going to take this amount of money in order to shoot this film.
Great question. That goes back to me working on set and ADing a bunch of non-union projects here and there. It came down to, because I was so involved in other people's projects, I would then begin to ask those questions about, well, how much is this? How much is that? How much time did you need for this setup? How much time did you need for that setup? Why do you need this equipment? What do you see when you shoot this and when you storyboarded it? And how much is that going to cost you when you get to the edit bay to be able to make sure that it's the correct way and the way in which you see it? So as I was working on different projects, I would just go and ask whoever was producing it, or if they had a UPM, a unit production manager, or whoever might have been there, to say, do you mind if I take a look at your budget to see what's going on? Now, part of me also wanted to do that as I was ADing, because I wanted to make sure we were staying on task and not spending anything more. I know that more so comes down to the producers, but I also knew you already got so much on your mind. How do I know this? From when we only had 6 people back in the day. So I know you already got a lot on your mind. Whatever I can do to help alleviate that, I'm happy to help do it. And in doing that, it's also helping me down the line to be able to see what are things that they're not thinking of that I'm thinking of. So that way, when I'm in their position, I'm already telling somebody, make sure to look out for this, this, and this, you know? So as I'm going through there, comparing budgets, asking other people that have done shorts, do you mind if I take a look at your budget? It don't even have to be your final budget. I'll take a look at the early budget that you had. And then even smaller productions like non-union indie films that are going on in New York. If there's anything around a budget that's somewhere floating online, I'm looking it up to see, well, how much did they use for this? How much did this location cost? How much are these actors? What's the difference between if I'm using SAG actors or non-union actors, and so on? Is it a difference between somebody owning their equipment and allowing us to use it, or not having their equipment, and then we have to go and rent it and also get insurance? So trying to find all of those nuances.
At this point, you have your script. How many pages to the script?
I think it was 22 at the time, and we eventually cut it down to 16, 17.
Okay, so 16, 17 pages. You end up with a 15-minute short, about
Mm-hmm.
a 15
Mm-hmm.
minute. Okay,
Yeah.
so from that, you come up with a budget. What was your goal when you were crowdfunding for this short? What is it that you wanted to get?
Our crowdfunding goal was $15,000. We want to get 15.
When the campaign ended, what did you come away with?
We were close to 25.
Okay, so you came in over your ask.
Absolutely.
Now my question is, the campaign you did, was it for production and post, or just production?
The campaign that I did was for production, because I thought with what we have in production, we will also have enough for post. And I'm so glad that we raised over what we asked for, because had we not, we would have been cooked. We would have absolutely been well done steak at somebody's barbecue, because it came down to, yes, we had enough to be able to get us through production. And funny enough, a quick side note, on our last day of crowdfunding, I remember telling everybody, I was like, I have a strange feeling the strike is going to end today. We cannot push our shoot date back. We have to shoot next week. We were going to shoot the week after we finished crowdfunding. Everybody was like, look, it takes like 10 business days for us to even get the funds from the platform. Like, we can't do this. We have to push it back. And I'm saying, guys, if we push it back, we going to lose everybody, because the strike is going to end. People going to start getting jobs. We have to do this immediately. And lo and behold, literally right after we finished our crowdfunding, the strike ended, and everybody started being like, oh, this person's got to pull out, this person got to pull out, this person got to pull out. So I'm so glad that we ended up shooting it right after. But I say all that to say, it got us through production. We were able to pay for the locations, pay our cast, pay to make sure that everybody had food. We also had a holding space, so that way if you weren't needed on set, you had somewhere else to be able to sit and get other work done, so that way you were still around or nearby, and excuse me, somewhere for our background to be. But when we got to post, yeah, we were able to pay our editor. I didn't even think about if we needed a sound editor. Thought about, okay, we need composition. Cool. I had somebody that was going to do it, but then they have some life things that came up. So that kind of delayed us about 4 to 5 months. So now when I have to go out and pay for a composer, I'm like, I didn't have this in the budget. Now I got to pay for that. sound editor, depending on how many edits we got to go through. Didn't even consider how much it's going to cost to submit to these festivals and so on. So that was a whole nother expense that I truly at the time was not as prepared for as I should have been. But I'm thankful that I was able to build up my savings a little bit more to be able to help us get over the hump. And we also got a few more contributions from people afterwards once they were like, well, let me see what the project looks like. And when I was able to show it to them, they was like, okay, you know what? I want to help you out a little bit because I believe in what it is that y'all are doing. But it was just for production. And I will definitely not make that mistake again. And I'm telling everybody, raise for production and post. Because you think post won't cost that much, but you'd be surprised how many things end up getting lost or delayed in post production just because you run out of funding.
I would also add to that, have a marketing campaign. So, because you need money in order to market the project, whether it's for short films, you got to pay for all those applications that you fill out. So, on that note, let's talk about um, the film is now finally done. When were you starting to think about, hey, I want to enter these, I want to enter this short into festivals?
I was kind of ambitious at first. Like we finished filming in November of 23 and started the editing process. I think I got the first cut like end of December 23 or like early January 24. And I was like, "Oh, we so close. Listen, I'm gonna start looking at festivals now. We'll be fine. We gonna make it. Like it'll be okay." And as all the delays and everything started to happen, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna take a lot longer than I thought. Like this is not gonna happen the way in which I thought it would." And I'm also grateful for that because it allowed us more time to get our footing together, to be able to raise some more funds, and to get all our ducks in a row. We didn't have an EPK, we didn't have a poster, we didn't have a trailer, we didn't have any of these things. I'm just putting the film out there without a lot of this. Like we don't have, yeah, I have my own bio, but do I have a bio from my director, from my producers, from my DP? Do I have a full EPK that has all these things? Do we have stills that we can use in the promotion? I have none of these things. So I'm glad that we had that delay because it gave me more time to gather the wealth of materials that we needed to present ourselves the right way. So I was already thinking festivals come January, but when I got serious was probably during the summer of 2024 when I was like, you know what? Like 2024 is not going to happen. 2025 has to be our year. So as long as we can finish around late 24, early 25 and begin to submit, then we'll be in good shape. So everything at that point became get everything else together while we're getting closer to this final edit. So that way, once this edit is done, we can put everything in one go and send it out. Because while some of the early festivals we submitted to and we submitted a work in progress, I wish we hadn't, just so that way for our first presentation of things, they would be able to see us showing up with everything that we needed. It kind of goes back to me saying, am I going to shoot this on a shoestring budget or am I going to crowdfund for it? I don't want my first presentation to be, okay, I kind of see what they're doing. I want you to be able to take away immediately what it is that we're able to do and that being able to translate.
Once the film is done, what are the tools you need in order to submit it to festivals?
Make sure that you know your film's runtime. Like you should know whether your film is 15 minutes and 48 seconds or if it's 16 minutes and 17 seconds. You should know that off the top of your head because that will also dictate, depending on what festival you send it to, whether or not it's going to be accepted. Because a lot of festivals now are saying they want shorter films so that way they can program more films and be able to get more people into the festival, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a business. So you want to know your film's runtime. You also want to have key art. Do you have a poster? Even if it's a still that you had taken on set and you could turn that into a poster. With Baldi, the poster that we have was a still that we took on set with behind the scenes footage. And one of the first time I saw it in my head, I was like, this is probably gonna be the poster. I already see it right now. And I was like, let me look at everything else just to ensure myself. But I kept coming back to no, this is gonna be the one right here because it tells you everything that you need right then and there without force feeding it to you. So you need key art. Definitely make sure that you have other
So you
stills
had some,
and
I don't mean to cut you off. You had
no
someone
problem.
on set taking photos of you guys while you were shooting.
Yes, I did. And I'll
Very
take it
good.
even one step
Okay.
further. We also had in some video that will come out soon. We also had somebody doing video while we were there as well. Reason being, on a couple other shorts, we had a little bit on the Fruited Bears, but the shorts that I had done prior to that, we didn't have anybody that was really doing that. And the thing that I noticed is that a lot of films will, after they, after they post their poster, after they post their trailer, after they post whether or not they got into any festivals or anything, in between those times, they have nothing else to post. You're just sitting there waiting for, okay, like, I'm really excited about this project, but what else is there going to be? So before we even got to production, when I'm still in pre-production, helping get everything together, after I've locked down the script, we've cast everybody, I'm already thinking of ideas of what do I want to post on the days when we don't have anything? Do I want to post anything about our director? Do I want to post any previous work by a DP, any previous work by our actors, just to pull more people in? Okay, as a part of that, I'm going to need more shots of them on set. So that means I need to get some photos of you while you're preparing. Maybe some B roll of you just walking back and forth, going through your lines. Maybe you and somebody might be at crafty making a joke about something, but all of this pulls you into this world that we're creating right now. So I thought ahead enough to say, okay, we not only need somebody taking photos, we also need somebody taking video as well, so that we can use all of this in the promotion of our film, on the back end of things. So you definitely need somebody taking stills while you're there, because you can use that to post, but also there will be festivals that will ask you if you have any stills, or if you have any shots that are not from, that are not your key art, they will use that in promotion of your projects, because you never know what their theme is going to be or how their layout online is going to be, and you want to be able to give them the most to be able to work with, right? When you get to an EPK, an electronic press kit, I was doing this back when I was doing radio and when I was producing internet streaming TV shows, and when I was doing my YouTube channel. I had an EPK because there would be brands that would come to me that would say, hey, we want to work with your talent, or we want to work with you. So, in doing this film, we need an EPK that has who is my director, who is my writer, who are my producers, who are my DP, who are my actors, and then what's our story, who are these characters, how long is the film, why this film right now, so that as I'm giving this to festivals, again, giving them more than what they need to be able to work with, because that's going to make it easier on them to be able to promote us, to be able to push us, because they're saying, all right, this one film gave me a movie and a poster. They don't have any trailer, they don't have anything else. This film over here giving me a movie, a poster, a trailer, 18 photos to be able to work with, and an EPK, so that way we have everybody's handle. We have a little blurb about them. We have more over here we can post, and now we've got so many more people we can tag. They're going to share this. So now we have more people that may have interest in coming to our festival. So it all works out. From there, I would also say make sure that in those you have biographies for everybody too, because it's going to help show everybody that you're a little bit more serious. And it's also going to help later on, again, as more people are posting or as people are being brought up to stage to be able to talk about the project, they already have something that they can read off that helps to get everybody into the vibe of, okay, this is who this person is. Those would kind of be the things that I would say. Make sure that you have all of those as you're submitting.
Do you also create social media pages dedicated to Baldi, or is that being funneled through your page?
I created all of the pages that we had before we even crowdfunded. And I did that because I wanted people to be able to see the journey from before we had anything all the way through us going through our campaign. And I did that because going back to after people make a project, they then want to create an account and then say, okay, here are all the things, but you don't have enough to share. Or you will have everybody post something on one person's account. It could be the main actor, it can be the writer, it can be the director, whomever, right? But now only that person will truly be associated with the film. And now everybody's like, Go to Lydia's account for this. Go to Lydia's account. And Lydia might be on a whole new wave at that point in time. Lydia might be like, oh, I'm on to a different project now. So I'm not even really posting about that. Whereas if I have an account for it, now everything will be able to live there instead of having to rely so much on other people. So yes, definitely created an account just so that way early on. Like I think one of the first things I posted aside from our logo was the script pages. Like I just posted like the title page to be able to show people like, hey, this is coming. You know, this is something that we're working on. It's something I'm serious about. It's got our logo, it's got our names, it's got the dates of the revisions and all of that. So you can see this has been something that's been in the works and not just something that we sprung up on you. I want you to know how much work, time, passion, and blood, sweat, and tears went into this so that as you're deciding on whether or not to contribute, you can see this isn't something that we just came up with last minute. This has been something that we put a lot of work and effort into.
How do you go through the process of picking a specific film festivals that you want your project to be considered for?
This goes back to this is something that you said prior to us beginning, but you notice that I do a good amount of research. And that is something that I like to do just because I want to be as prepared as possible whenever I'm going into something. And with this, I looked at so I just kind of did a scan. I went through Seed and Spark. I went through Indiegogo. I went through GoFundMe. I went through every crowdfunding campaign, Kickstarter as well. I went through every crowdfunding campaign you could think of that was in a comedy, dramedy, drama section. And then I was like, okay, let me see, did they even post anything about them going to the festivals? The ones that did, great. The ones that did not, okay, cool. I'll put you over here. I'll research y'all a little bit later. Now, the ones that did, let me see which festivals you went to or that you talked about submitting to, so that way I can see, does their film align with ours, also align with that festival? Because going back to festivals do different themes all the time. So which festivals have just kind of like a general, we're the festival, we're the theme? Which ones switch up their themes all the time? Does our film represent or align up, excuse me, does our film align with the theme that they're doing this year? If it doesn't make sense for us to submit. But if it does, then we definitely should submit, right? So then going through all of them, and then I went so granular to even saying, I'm going to all the film festival pages. How many pictures of people are you actually posting? Are you taking the pictures? Or are you repurposing pictures that other people posted? Okay, let me see. How much work are you putting in to promote yourself um, through your own channels or through other people's channels? Okay, how many flat out, how many minorities do you even have at your festival? Because if you don't have a lot, what am I submitting for? Now I'm just giving you money, but I know I'm gonna hear no. But let me look through everything so I can be as realistic as possible with where this money is going. Because yeah, while it's great we crowdfunded all this money, if it just goes up in smoke because we did get into any festivals, I'm gonna look like the fool, because then I got everybody to make this project with me and it's not going to go anywhere. No, I need people to feel proud of what we did. I need people to feel happy whenever they're thinking about it. And I need them to know that I took what they gave us and we made it into the best possible thing that we could. So let's look into every single aspect of things to see. I'm going back as far as 2017, 2016, before some of these festivals even existed, to see how many pictures are you posting, who's there, are you getting better every year, is it falling off? What's happening? Doing as much research as possible.
To date, how many festivals have you entered Baldy into?
I'm just gonna say it's a big number. I'm not gonna say the number because I've steadfast on we uh we submitted to a lot, and I was happy to submit to a lot because it goes back to me saying I wanted to give us the best possible chance to show what it is that we made. And with that, I wanted everybody that was a part of this project, if there was a festival nearby you, I sent out multiple emails to people saying, if there's a festival that's nearby you, I want you to go represent the film. Like if nobody from our staff or none of our actors or nobody from our crew, if nobody from our cast and crew are able to make it, then I would love for you to go and do it, because one, you're going to feel proud with your investment. But two, it's also you investing into the film community that's nearby you. And now you might become a part of the festival. You might even have an idea that you might want to turn into something. But all of this goes back into helping to refuel the industry the way in which we need. I can tell you, we heard more no's than yeses, but we got into over 45 festivals. I can tell you that much.
I think it's important that the person watching this or listening to this understand that it's a numbers game. You submit, and it is a numbers game. It's just like auditioning, right? You may go up for 10 auditions, and if you're lucky, you get one. And you may go up for 50 auditions and get two. It's a numbers game. It's not about how fabulous you are as an actor or your project, but it's how many, where are you submitting it? Are you aligning with that festival? I love how you put that. Does your project align with the festival? Because you want your chances to be great, as opposed to you're just throwing, you're just throwing stuff at everything and seeing what happens, and then you get disappointed when you don't get anything, but you weren't on purpose, you weren't intentional. Like, I'm not going to get into the Asian, the Pan Asian Film Festival. I don't have any Asian people in my short.
So what am I
I'm
doing?
not.
What am I doing? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's important for actors and filmmakers to understand, be very intentional where you are submitting. Also look and see who the previous winners were, so you, and if you can, watch their films, watch those shorts, so you can see what they like, because every film festival has, they have a flavor. There's something they lean toward, and I don't think people really understand that. So the more research you can do on the festivals, and probably even before you start shooting, once you have the script, you know what the script is, look up the film festivals. Go, I think I want to submit this to this film festival, so let me see what they're liking, how they're choosing their submissions, so I have an understanding. So as I finish my script, I now know I'm going to shoot for this. We imagine big film festivals, but it's those little film festivals that we want to really connect with, because we may not get into Sundance, we may not get into the Toronto Film Festival, but we can get into ABFF Festival. But you got to be intentional, you got to know what it is, and you got to be aware of that time. How much time do they allot for their short films? You don't want to do, I interviewed a young director a few years ago, and it was great listening to her, because she had to recut her film, because when she was trying to enter it into festivals, it was too long. So she had to go back and recut the film, and then resubmit to a bunch of festivals. Um, Nowhere near what you have submitted for, but she saw the value in going back in and recutting it, so she could get into certain festivals. Before she did the film, it didn't occur to her to understand the timing. How much time is that film, and that if you go a minute over or 5 minutes over, you cannot qualify for that short film festival. So it's really important, the time is important. um I want to know what you have learned in applying to film festivals, that, let's say you do another short next year, what will you be looking for as you look at film festivals, to apply to film festivals? What are you going to be looking for now, that, because you've had many wins, you've had many losses. I'm assuming, because you're really good with looking at the whole picture, that you've come away with, oh, next time I want to do this.
The main thing that I'm looking for in the next project that I do bring to the festival marketplace is I really want to build rapport with some of these people that you meet at the festival. So one of the highlights in our festival journey for Baldy this season has been going to these festivals and building relationships with people. And it's been whether those are my peers, other people that have submitted projects, or even some of the judges. And being able to say, hey, we are, as the industry is changing right now, some of the lifeblood of this industry. We're going to be some of the people that are making decisions. And the way in which we get there is by helping, collaborating with each other. So, one, where can I go to have a good overall experience with not just the festival itself, but the other people that I'm going to be submitting? And I'm going to be looking at the pool of places that I've already gone to, that we've submitted to, that I've been in constant communication with. So that way we can make sure that whomever it is we're sending, whether I'm like just producing the project, if I'm just producing the project, I want to make sure that the main team that is going, I want to make sure that they have a good experience as well, because I want them to be able to say, hey, I want to do this again. I want to get better. I want to keep going. So, one thing that I want them to do, and that I am going to look for, is rapport, collaboration, community building, all in all. The second thing that I want to get to is experience. I want to go somewhere where we got good quality feedback. Whether that was, hey, your film could have been 2 minutes shorter, whether you did this, or that. Or, you know what? If you would have did this here, the comedy would have been heightened and the drama still would have hit. Or the drama would have been heightened and the comedy still would have been good. Um, Quality feedback like that, very similar to the story you just told, where the director got some notes and was like, you know what? Let me go back and reshape this and see what I can do. I'm going to go back to those places because those places are going to help make us that much more sharper. It's going to help make us that much better. And it goes back to being able to see what's the big picture of it all. Yeah, you kind of get tunnel vision after you've seen your film 20, 25 times. You're like, this is the best it's going to get. Like, I can't do anything better than this. This is amazing. This is the best thing since sliced bread. But when we had our post-production supervisor come in at one point, I think our film was stuck at 18 minutes. And I was like, man, look, I can't get it down any further. I don't know what else to do. We just gonna have to send this out. He came in, cut about 2.5, almost 3 minutes off, and I was like, I have no idea how you did this. This is this is incredible. But he was saying, look, this comes from watching other films, directing other films, being a part of other projects, having to judge other projects, being a part of festivals, so that way you can see what is good, what's needed, what's not, to be able to help serve this story. So being able to do that, and ultimately, this is kind of like kind of cliche, but I want to have a good time. I know that a lot of these festivals, or even pulling back from the festivals, a lot of this industry right now is a little bit of doom and gloom with some of the big news that has been going on, which fair depending on how you look at it. But I know that a lot of us still have dreams. We still have goals that we want to accomplish, and we want to give our all to these projects that inspire us to go out and do everything that we want to do in this world. So I want to go places where there are other people that feel that same passion, that feel that same compassion, that same fire to say, I want to get better. I want to keep coming back with stuff. I want to see what other people are making. Any festival that had me feeling that kind of way is somebody that automatically is going to have me coming back.
What is effective networking and what is wasting time networking?
Wasting time. I'll start with that. Wasting time networking is just like, hey, I liked your film, and then just leaving. Like, okay, cool. Like, what did you like about my film? Was there anything specific that stood out to you? Did it land with you? Do you know somebody that's going through this same experience? Like, what can you tell me a little bit more? Like, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I 100% appreciate it. I'm glad that you watched it. This is fantastic. But tell me a little bit more, because I want to know why it stuck with you. And effective networking is, I really liked your film. This is why, this is why, this is why. So that way, okay, there's a deeper appreciation that you took. And the fact that you came over to me and said this, now we can start a conversation. Where are you from? Are you into films? Like, you came to just watch films in general? Is this just something that you do? Okay, why did this film stand out? Were there any other films that stood out to you? Where do you think we are around some of those other films that you've been able to see. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. Okay, are you cast or are you crew on another film? Do you want to work in film? So then you can kind of build and be able to collaborate from there. One of the festivals that we went to, it was the Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival, which shout out to the team there. Definitely appreciate them. When we've gone back to LA for other festivals, they've even come out to support us. Even though they've seen the film a couple times already, they're still, hey, is it playing out here? We'll go see it and we'll go represent for y'all. And I've been so thankful for them and everything that they've done. The reason I bring them up is the block that Baldy was in for that festival was the last block of the festival of a Saturday night. And our block was just stacked with good films, and Baldy was starting out first. And I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is not this situation could not be any more stressful right now because the film after ours, it was their world premiere. They're from LA. Everybody and their mama came to see that film, and I'm like, we're before them. Oh man, this is either I'm gonna know real fast in the first 2-3 minutes whether people like my film or not. And just having that experience, and thankfully everybody did like the film, but having that experience and then being able to go up afterwards and meet the other filmmakers, meet the other cast and crew that came there, and us all being cool with one another, complimenting each other's films, saying what we like, saying what we would improve, and just being able to be honest and in the moment with everybody. Now, these are some of the same filmmakers that, as I come back to New York, I see some of them here. As we've gone to other festivals, we've run into each other, and now we're going to each other's screenings. We're seeing what other kinds of projects we can work in with each other. We're asking each other, hey, do you know somebody that can work on this? Because I got somebody that can do this, this, and this. And they're like, actually, I do. Do you know somebody that can do this and X, Y, and Z? And it's really being able to build on that community, being able to get that rapport that I was talking about. That was one of the like best things that happened coming out of the festivals for me, was to really be able to see, yo, a lot of these people, we see each other eye to eye. We know how hard it is to make something, but we're also giving our all to it, and we're going to help each other out as much as we can. So much so that sometimes when we would post awards, before I could even go to our story or send it out to people, they're already putting it up on their pages. They're already reposting on their pages. And I'm doing the same thing because the same love that they're giving us, I'm going to give back to them.
So you're taking networking, you're transferring it into relationship. It's not just about networking. You're now building. I'm meeting people, and now I'm building so that the filmmakers I meet, the actors I meet, the camera people, all the industry people that I meet that are coming up, I am gathering as many of them that I connect with, and I am now starting relationships with because they are my peers.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it was such a fun thing to be able to do. Again, thank you to Beyond Hollywood International Film Festival for that. And both of the films, two of the films were people that we really connected with. One is called Love is Blind, which is a fantastic short film. Another one is called A Slash Way, which is a feature film from a director that's out here in New York. And their teams couldn't be any better people. So it's been so much fun being able to be in other festivals with them, see them at other festivals, catch up with them, see how everything is going. And then even uh, Baldy and Love is Blind right now, we are both up for potential nomination at the 59th NAACP Image Awards right now. We find out sometime early January whether or not we both, hopefully, fingers crossed, we both get in the top five for nomination. But if we don't and they do, we'll be just as happy and be cheering them on either way. So it's been really a fun ride to be able to do this with peers that are like minded.
I love it. So I'm going to pivot just for a second because you're talking about the Image Awards, which is a little different type of campaign that you do than you would a film festival. What kind of campaign are you doing for that? Or are you doing a campaign for that?
What makes it different is that, and for people that don't know, when you submit to these film festivals, by the time that you get there, they've already decided who the winners and everything are going to be. So there's only so much that you can really do. At that point, you're just going to have a good time. You're going to be a part of the festival, going to be a part of the experience. With the Image Awards, this has truly been a learning process for me Now you get to see how the big boys really do it. Now you get to see, hey, this is what happens when, when Sinners and One Battle After Another and all these other films. Now you see what it takes to be able to get to something of that stature. First thing is you're paying to submit your film for potential nomination. That doesn't mean that you're automatically nominated. You're paying to potentially be nominated. So that was the first thing that I was like, okay, cool. And then there are different categories, whether it's, hey, do you want to set up a screening for the voting body? Do you want to send videos? Do you want to send emails out to the voting body? All of that also costs.
And you want to do all of it. Speaking from experience of submitting and doing a campaign for the Image Awards, that you want to take advantage of. That's where you need a little bit of a bigger budget, because it is going to cost you. It is going to, if you're submitting it now, we're talking a bigger platform. If you're submitting it for the Image Awards, for their short, or the Academy Awards, that the campaign budget is a little pricey, because you've got to screen it, you got to show it, you have to get people to watch it. So how are they going to watch it if they miss the screening that you set up? Are you sending them digital links to watch the film? Are you going to take out little ads to say, hey, we're doing it? So that you have to really have a good strategy to compete, because what people don't realize, whether it's a short film or whether it's a feature film or a TV show, the Image Awards, the Academy Awards, the Emmy Awards, you're competing with studios. They got big bucks, and you being the little indie producer, you got to be very creative in how you're going to get your project to be seen by the voting membership. So it's really incumbent upon you to ask as many questions as you can to the people who are doing the Image Awards, or doing the Academy Awards, or doing, the people in the office. You got to find out, okay, so what do I need? And you got to make sure that your film qualifies, it meets the technical requirement. If you're doing we're moving out of shorts for a second, but
Mhm.
if you're submitting a feature, that bad boy has to run in New York and Los Angeles for a week in a theater, and then you got to
Yeah,
take ads out, and then you
yeah,
got to figure out how to get, and that's a little bit of a budget. Even if you want that, you have to raise your stuff. One of the things that I find a lot of actors don't understand and complain all the time is, why didn't so and so get nominated? It it's it has nothing to do with who the best actor is, the best film, the best cinematographer. It has to do with the campaigns. Who
yeah.
are the people campaigning? And are you putting your project so they can see it? So my question
Hmm.
to you, because I know that end, my question to you is, on the film festival end, you said they already know who they're gonna who they're gonna vote for or choose before you get there. How do you get your project seen in a manner that you not only are in the film festival, but that you really do, um you're really campaigning?
Yeah, I think that a good way to be able to do it, and where we can kind of split the difference, is that at the festivals, because those judges have already seen all the films, they've already made the selections of who's getting in. So by proxy, they've already decided who's going to be the winners, who's going to get this and that. So as an audience member, as a filmmaker going, you're going for seeing some films and then to see who ultimately is going to win, right? Now, with the Image Awards, something that I now know and probably would do with my next project is that And this is something that behind the scenes I've started to notice as, again, going back and doing research. Quick sidebar: at the Tallgrass Film Festival, Baldi was nominated for the Gordon Parks Awards for Black Excellence in Filmmaking, and this is the first year that they've done a short category. So we're very happy to be a part of the inaugural class for that. One of the films that we were up against was Ado, which is directed by Sam Henderson, and it is a fantastic film starring Jennifer Lewis. It's gone to multiple festivals. They've had a very healthy festival run where they've won Best Short at 4 or 5 Oscar qualifying festivals, right? The thing that you could do now that I'm seeing it from this end for this Image Awards conversation, right? Or for even some of the Oscar Award conversation when you're like, how can I get people to see my films? When you're going to these festivals, that's why you got to have your own pages. That's why you got to have all these materials together. That's why you got to be promoting your work, because without knowing, you could already be coming across, meeting, or seeing people that have votes in these award shows. So now, instead of just campaigning to them during the, hey, I'm going up for an Oscar, going up for an Image Award, going up for an Emmy, you now have to look at the totality of, I really have this entire festival season, I have this entire year to begin to reach out to some of these people, because I know going in that I'm probably going to submit for this. Now, for say for example, you still have to pay to be able to submit, and some of these you have to have won at certain festivals to be able to submit. But the sooner that you find that out, the sooner you're able to say, I can then change my entire campaign strategy to, let me start reaching out to these people now. So then I can get them, by the time that we get to the campaign cycle, they've already seen my film maybe once or twice, or at least heard of it. So now, as they're looking to see what films are up for nomination, oh, Baldy's right here. Oh, Ado is right here. Oh, I can. Oh, I've seen that already, and I really enjoyed that film. Now, as they're watching the others, you might have a leg up, or they might say, "Ah, it was close, but I'm still gonna pick you guys." So, all in all, the difference in being that at these film festivals that we submit our projects to, those things are already decided. And again, you're going for the experience. You're going to have a good time. You're going to learn. You're going to network. You're going to do all these things. When you get to these big award shows, as you said, you got to have that budget together, because that's what's going to help to push who's going to get the potential nomination, who's going to see this stuff, who are you actually like targeting, so that way they can vote for your film. It's a really so in depth that I wouldn't even recommend to people your first or second go around. You should not even be thinking about these big festivals unless you're in a position of like Honora, where I think their budget was 8 million, but their marketing budget was 16 million. They had double what they had to make the film just to market the film. Now, did they win the Oscar? They absolutely did. But it's a little different when you got A24 behind you versus, oh man, all I got is my savings right here and I might have to crowdfund online. Very different.
Let me tell you something. Don't poo poo your savings, because you can, coming from guerrilla filmmaking and what I've learned, because I I produced Making the Five Heartbeats. I was that little train that could. We got into the long list of the Academy. Didn't make the short list, but we were in. We made it a good way. We made it like the top 20, which for me was fantastic. And so, and with the Image Awards, we were one of the 5 nominated,
There we go.
and we were competing with Aretha Franklin's documentary. We were competing with Whitney Houston's documentary. We were competing with RBG and with Quincy Jones, who I like to say invited everybody to his house to watch the movie. So we were, and we didn't have a budget that, but we did other things in order to get it out there. Like I found out, okay, for the Image Awards, they had three at that year. They had 300 members for the Image Awards. I packed 300 DVDs and took them to the office so that they could get a copy. Then we invited everybody, whether they were a voter or not, to come to see the screening in LA and in New York. We did everything we could with our $2.50. Um, and so and the other thing, and I would add this to whoever's watching, whoever's doing a short film submissions for festivals, take out little ads in the Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. Do those little ads, because that people are on social media. I would even go to LinkedIn and do a little campaign. So do what you can with what you have, and just it this business is about publicity. It's about telling people who you are, what you're doing. You got to put the marketing out there, but they have to know who you are. And so as you were talking about making pages for your short film Baldi, I my brain was like, yes. And then I would put up, today I would do a little bio on the director. Then I would do a little bio every day. I would post a bio on everybody. Every day I would maybe post a couple of behind the scenes. Maybe every day I would put up, hey, we just submitted for this festival. Hey, we just got accepted in this festival. Oh, we didn't make it in this festival, but I ended up going to it and it was fantastic. So you're constantly feeding your page things about Baldy that get people interested. It's like, wow, oh my God, this guy is doing some stuff. They remember that. So when the next project, because you're not just doing it for this project, you're doing it for the next project you're putting out there. The other thing I want to touch on is, you've won how many awards for this film?
15 awards.
Okay.
I believe we're at 15 awards.
And one of them was for the Cannes Film Festival.
It was the Diversity in Cannes Short Film Showcase. Yeah, we won best cast.
So let's talk about that, because I came into the picture a little before that, and I told you you need to go to Cannes. If you've been accepted in Cannes, and this is for everybody, if you've been accepted into a major award of a major film festival, you need to show up. You need to figure out how to get there. So tell us about your experience going to Cannes. And you didn't have much time.
We did not have much time. So the Diversity in Cannes Short Film Showcase is a showcase that happens in Cannes, France, and it's so funny recanting it. I'm gonna just take you through the whole thing. We found out that we got in maybe late April. This is late April of 2025. And the showcase happens one day on, I believe it was May 15th, May 19th. It was the Monday. I can't remember which day. But we found out like basically 2 days before May even happens that we got in. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. Not going to be able to go. There's no way in the world we'll be able to make this happen. And a couple of days later, Lydia and I are speaking, and she's like, hey, you have to go to this. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to go to this. And I'm like, Lydia, I hear you. I think you're correct. There's no way I'm gonna be able to pull this off. Like this, like I've trust and believe. I got like an optimistic spirit. There are a lot of things that I believe in. This is just something that I'm just like, hey, bro, nah, this is not. This is a little outside of our realm. This is not going to be able to occur. I'm telling everybody, like, I'm announcing it. Hey, we got into the Diversity in Cannes short film and web series showcase. This is going to be amazing. It happens in conference. Would love to be able to go. And excited to see some of the other films that be a part of it. But it is what it is. It's already what, May 2nd, May 3rd. This happens in like less than 2 weeks. Not gonna happen, guys. And as I'm, letting everybody know that we got in, and as I'm going back home, this is where talking to everybody about your project and having people that believe in you and family ultimately comes into play. I had some family that came along and was like, "Hey, so I heard that you got into this festival that's out in France, right?" I was like, "Yeah, like, diversity and Con short film showcase. Um, it would be really cool, but not gonna be able to make it work. Like, I know that, like, in the Con Film Festival, like, Highest to Lowest is gonna be playing, so Spike, Denzel are gonna be there. ASAP Rocky is gonna be there. There are gonna be so many people. Wendell Pierce is gonna be there. It'll be cool, but it is what it is." And my cousin was like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for you to go." I was like, "Excuse me? What do you mean? Like, this is not happy birthday. This is my birthday gift to you from the past few years, right? Happy birthday. Here's your ticket to be able to go. You better make the most of this experience. Like, I need you to go and have the best time. Make sure that you're networking. Make sure that you're doing all the things that you want to do. I believe in you. I see what you're doing. And I know that you put a lot into this. So I'm going to help you." And when I tell you, I almost lost it right then and there because I just could not believe that this was happening at that point in time. So from there, it became a whirlwind of I've got less than a week to be able to get there. Got to find me an Airbnb. I need suits. I don't have a decent suit right now that I can wear out there. Not for this. I need to get myself together and pull in every other outfit. I'm also talking to our director at that point in time because he's working on another project. And he's like, "Look, I'm ADing a project right now. I don't know if I'll be able to." And I was like, "Look, you should try. I'm going now. So now you got to try to, if you can only get 3 days off, fly in, we there for one full day, fly back out the next day. If I'm going, you got to try to go, bro. Like, I can't be out there by myself. You got to come do this." So, as I'm getting ready and I'm going through everything, the other thing that I did, so diversity and con happen on the same strip but are separate. But as a part of con, you have to get a pass to be able to go to the marketplace. So I got one of the passes because I said, "Hey, look," and this is something that diversity and con was telling us: if you want to make the most out of the experience, get one of the marketplace passes so that way you can kind of see everything. I did, and while it was a little costly because it was late in the game to get it, I'm so thankful that I did because while I was out there, I was able to go and see some of the films that were in competition. I was able to meet other filmmakers, meet other distributors, meet other writers, meet other producers, and I'm also able to see the business end of things where people that have independent films are coming to this festival, to this marketplace to show everybody, "Hey, this is what I got. Who are distributors in different countries that I can speak to?" And now I'm just really blown away because I'm like, I'm truly seeing the business side of all this. And this is so exciting because going back to this entire experience is now becoming okay. So that way, for the next time, we know what we want to do. We know how we want to go. We know how we want to move. And being out there, my director did end up coming. We met so many great people. We were here, like, networking here and there, going to the different screenings. I've worked with Wendell Pierce before. He's like a mentor to me. He invited me to the highest to lowest screening. So I'm like sitting behind him, Denzel, Rihanna, and I'm watching highest to lowest, and I'm like, this is incredible. Like, I couldn't even believe this is happening. Our film is screening, and people are telling us they really enjoy our film. And lo and behold, we end up winning best cast as a part of the showcase, and we're just kind of blown away because we're like, to go from this, in all truthfulness, in all honesty, to go from writing this film about me losing my hair to now being in the south of France and being awarded for all of the work that people were able to come together to be able to do to help make this film work. It was really a touching moment just to be like, you never know how far something will be able to take you as long as you got some belief in it and you really give your all to it. So it was just a transformative experience. Like, I want to go back to Cannes every time that I can. I did not mean to rhyme that there, but it was just so awesome. It was just so awesome.
I am so proud of you. Let me just say that I am so proud of you because most people would have just said, I can't do it and let it go. I'm of the ilk, if you believe it, you'll make a way. You know, that as actors, sometimes we cut ourselves short because we go, well, I don't have the money. I don't have it, so I can't do it. No, money will show up. It will, it will. If you really want something, it will make itself available for you. I believe that. I believe that God would not put something in your path and then say, "Oh, by the way, you can't get it." But it's up to us to push that envelope and go, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." So, I do have one last question about the short before I get into your background,
Sure.
because you made a comment about when you had it in post that you had someone look at it and they were able to take 2 minutes off. And what stuck with me was that when you're doing your short, you also want to be able to get seasoned people in certain key spots. So as you are getting your budget together, think of who is the key, you know, who are the key positions that you think I should have an experienced DP? It shouldn't just be a friend of a friend or somebody who's starting to do it, but depending on what your goal is for that short, you want to think in terms of who should I, if it's a director, I need to go after a bigger director, or I need to go after a bigger cinematographer, or somebody who's really great with lighting, somebody who's really great with sound design, or again, it all, you want to look at what your script is about and then start piecing in who you can bring in that, okay, we're going to pay them top dollar, everybody else we're going to give low dollar to, but we need this person. And when you get that person, make sure that they are a team player, make sure that they're not there just for the check, and that they're not resentful that they're doing your short film. You want to find somebody who's been in the business, who has the credential, but has the passion to do film. And it doesn't matter if it's a high end film or if it's a short film, they're going to give you their best. So, I just wanted to throw that in because as you were saying, you had somebody who was experienced who could pick out those 2 minutes, who had fresh eyes, who could see, oh, we can lean this out even more and tighten the film. And sometimes we can't see it. Something you discussed early is, do you had the experience where the guy was the director, he was the producer, he was the writer, he was crafty, he was this, he was that. And I think a lot of times we have actors who go, well, I can do it. I know how to hold a camera. I know how to do this. I could do all of it, make my own short. And I think that is the worst thing you could do for yourself. I think you sabotage when you do that, because then you're not letting, you're not having a support team around you. And as a creative, you need that support team. You need that crew to come in to give you a different perspective. If it's not a director, let's say you're wearing different hats, and you can wear different hats. You just can't wear different hats at the same time. It is not in your best interest. You were also talking earlier, um, about, when you got into actor mode, that you were like, okay, unless it's really crucial, please don't come at me with producer stuff. I need to focus on being an actor. And I just want to say this as an actor who has done a lot of things and wore a lot of hats. I had to learn that when you are performing, you got to know how to take off that producer hat, that writer hat. You got to take off the filmmaker hat, whatever it is. And I learned that when I was doing stand up. I did stand up for 14 years. In that period of creating my own um vehicles to get out there and be seen at a time when they weren't seeing a lot of uh Latina stand-ups or biracial stand-ups. um I with always had a couple of partners, let's do our own thing, but the bulk of the work fell on me, or I should say I took on the bulk of the work because I wanted to see it succeed. But what I learned, and I learned this the hard way, was on a showcase. We had a big showcase, and I was still being the producer. And then I get on stage to do my set. I've run out of steam. I and I was like, never again. Find those qualified people to take the position. That if you are the exec producer, if you are the producer, find somebody else who is a producer, so that on the days that you have to be in front of camera or you have to be on set, on stage, that all you are is the actor, all you are is the performer, and nothing else. Let that other person take care of it.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you brought that up because that was one of the things that during before we even got to really pre-production, one of the things that became crucial for me and one of the reasons that I even made this film in the first place was that in working in the business, I've come across a lot of peers that we all have our own hopes, dreams, and goals, right? And a lot of us, we're here grinding away every single day, being production assistants, doing the dirty work so that way these shows can continue to run. But on the back end of it, we don't have enough time to be able to pour into ourselves, into our own projects, into the creative outlets that we want to give ourselves to be able to further our careers or just our ambitions. And in doing this project, I wanted to bring together a core group of people that I was really cool with, that I knew would work well with each other and would say, hey, like, yes, I know that I'm the writer, I'm the actor, my face is on the poster and all of that. Like, I get that. However, I believe in this group of people. I believe in the stories that we want to tell. I believe in who we are individually and collectively to be able to move forward with each other and say, we want to continually put out stories. We want to be the change that we want to see in this industry. And we want to hold each other accountable in being able to do that. So that way, it was more than just me. It's about everybody here saying this can be a launching pad for all of us to be able to use this to go forward and what it is that we want to do. So being able to bring all these people together to make this project and then trusting them enough to say, I know you're not going to bother me while I'm in actor mode. And I know that they didn't because they started kicking me out of meetings and was like, hey, you can't, you're an actor now. Get out of here. And I'm like, no, no, no. Just tell me. You were just talking about it. Just go ahead. And they're like, we're pausing the conversation. Whoever is on Zoom or who's running the Zoom, kick Melvin out of here. He cannot be a part of this meeting anymore. He now has to go into actor mode. And I was so very happy with that because it showed me that we put the right people in charge and that if need be, they'll come to me with something. But for the most part, they were able to handle everything on their own. And the times on set when somebody did come to me with something, I was like, oh man, listen, I'm just an actor right now. Go ahead and talk to them. And it was handled. So for that to be able to work that way was fantastic and ultimately helped this film succeed because then it didn't go back to that prior project of I got to wear all these hats at the same time. No, I'm just wearing this one and go address the person that's doing that. So that way everybody has their own individual job.
Amen. Okay, so why did you come to New York? What was the purpose of you leaving the comfort of your hometown to go to New York?
Wow. It's so crazy because it's now officially been like 10 and a half years of me being in New York. But I left Chicago because I I honestly I followed that trope of if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And I knew that there was a version of me out there that's like No, he's gonna make it in New York, and then no matter where else he goes, he's gonna be able to do whatever it is that he wants to do. Chicago at that point, while it's been everything that I had known, just felt as if for me to get to the next level that I want to get to, I got to go get some experience elsewhere. Maybe there's a point in time where I can come back and then use that experience to do everything else that I want to do. But I need to go out somewhere, figure out who I am independent of everybody else, and just see at my core, what am I really trying to be? Who am I going to become? And make that happen so that I can make all my hopes and dreams come true. And a part of that was at the time, before I even got into acting, I was very much into the broadcast journalism side of things. I was like, I'm a host and I'm gonna be like Stuart Scott on ESPN. That's gonna be exactly what I'm doing. And I'm so happy to do that. And what began to change things for me, I had a conversation with a journalist that now works at Yahoo Sports. And he was telling me on the phone at the time, hey man, look, if you really want to do this, then you gotta go somewhere where there nobody else is, and you gotta work your way up. So as a matter of fact, I know of a a small newspaper company out in Montana that's looking for people that needs a journalist. So if you're willing to go, I can set up the interview. We'll see what happens and go from there. And I remember thanking him so much. I appreciated it. Hung up the call. And I'm doing this while I'm on my lunch break at the office building in downtown Chicago. And I turn and look out the window and I was like, there's no way in the world I'm going to Montana. I'm not doing that. It's not you want me to go to Montana to cover high school basketball, high school football, and then start working my way up, and then maybe in 3 4 years go to I'm just gonna name the places: Indianapolis, and then maybe after Indianapolis, 5 years after that, be able to come to Chicago, and then hopefully at some point be able to make the jump to New York. I'm not doing that. That's not something that I want to do, and I want no parts of it. But at the same time, I had begun to do sketch and improv at Second City. I had started dropping in on classes because when I wasn't doing those things, or when I wasn't taking classes on hosting or broadcasting, I was still auditioning for web series and short films because it was still in me. It was still there. Like, I'm not going away, bro. I'm still here.
Was this in Chicago?
This is in Chicago in like 2014, 2015.
What brings you to New York?
What brought me to New York was the summer before in 2014, prior to and then right after graduating, I got a fellowship into IRTS, the International Radio and Television Society Summer Fellowship Program, where they would bring you to New York for a summer and you got to intern to learn the business side of media. So I got to intern at CBS in their research department and see all the things that they were researching to be able to do their ad buys, their ad sales, and all their advertising, so on and so forth. And before then, I had always had like Times Square saved as my computer background. So I was like, one day I'm gonna get there, one day I'm gonna get there. And then this ended up happening, and it just kind of opened my eyes to these are all the possibilities of things that can happen. So we had that internship for 3 months, and I was trying to do everything I could to stay in New York, but it just didn't happen. So I had to go back to Chicago. Went back to Chicago, started working an advertising job there. So as I'm doing that, whenever IRTS would have an event, I would take the day off of work. I would fly myself to New York, right? Take the first flight out, go to New York, and then I'm going to visit everybody that I met during my internship. Whether I'm like going to see the guys at the front desk that still remember me, going upstairs to see who my old bosses were. Did anybody transfer jobs? I'm gonna come get lunch with you. All my peers that stayed here, I was going to say hey to them. At the event that IRTS would have, I would go to that event, do all those things, stay out after the event, be like, hey, does anybody want to stay out a little bit longer? Like, it's cool, we can stay out, as I'm like shuffling my bag with me. So we're going everywhere else, and then everybody's like, all right, I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'll see you. And then it's like midnight, and I'm like, great. My flight don't leave to go back to Chicago for another 6 hours, and I gotta be back at work in 8 hours. So I just gotta figure this out. So I'm staying out till like 3 in the morning, and then going to LaGuardia, And this is like old LaGuardia, not new LaGuardia, like old LaGuardia, where it
Hmm.
was like, oh, I don't know if I would be around here right now. And I remember, this is like a short side note. I took a small nap at one point, and when I woke up one time, somebody else was like next to me with their head on my shoulder, and I was like, "Yo, who are you? Like, what is going on here?" So, and I would just take that one day of work, then fly back to Chicago. Then I would take the train downtown, and I would try and find a gym real quick, so that way I could go and shower, and then go right back into work, and then work the full day the next day. And I did that 3 or 4 times, just to, one, show myself that I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to be able to get back to New York, but two, also show everybody else there, hey, if you hear anything, I'm gonna be the first person that you think of, because at the drop of a hat, I'm flying back. Soon as Southwest got a sale or JetBlue got a sale, I'm on the next thing there. I'm coming. So one of the bosses that I had was like, "Hey, we have an opening in our sales department, in our advertising sales department. Would you like to interview for it?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I would." So I had the interview on Tuesday, got the call on a Wednesday that I got the job, and I was like, "Oh, this is fantastic! Thank you so much." And they were like, "Hey, do you have a lease right now?" And I was like, "No, I'm just staying with my folks." And they were like, "Cool. Could you start Monday?" I'm like, "Monday? It's Wednesday. What do you mean? Can I start? Yeah. Cool. I can start Monday. Okay, great. We'll see you here Monday. So then Wednesday, I'm at my job, and I'm like, I have to go tell my boss that I'm leaving. Like, I can't even give 2 week notice. They're like, if you can't start Monday, you can't get this job. We need somebody here immediately. So I go tell my boss, I was like, hey, I hate to break it to you like this, but I'm moving to New York. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, I just got a job offer. I'm moving to New York. Like, this literally just happened. So finishing out my 2 days of work there, when I get back home, I'm telling everybody this is happening. We're packing bags. We looking for Airbnbs, trying to fly me, get me to New York. And I fly that Sunday to be able to get to New York Monday and get to my Airbnb, head to work, and just start my journey. Came to New York with like a suitcase and 2 duffel bags and a book bag.
I love it. So, I want to go back to the internship. Did they put you up in a place, or did you have to find your own accommodations?
They put us up in a place. We were staying at the
Okay.
it was I want to say it was about 20 of us. They put us up in the at the NYU dorms around 14th Street.
Oh, okay.
So not that far away from the 2-3 train, or if you go a little bit lower.
My daughter went to NYU, and she was in one of the dorms on 14th Street. Well, she was at a few, but one of them was on 14th Street, right next
Yeah.
to the Trader Joe's.
We were not too far away from over there. So, and that was just my summer of, I'm working in New York, but also like living here, and I'm just going around being like, this is the dream. Like, I'm getting paid to like live here, to work here, and I'm taking that entire summer, and I'm meeting with everybody, because, full scope of things, doing my research, I want to know what's out there so that I can know I'm making the best decision for me. And all while this is happening, in the back of my head, the actor in me, who was doing those plays in college and who's doing those web series and short films in Chicago, is like, you can go ahead and do all of that, but we know where you're going. Like, we know you're gonna come back. Go ahead, do all of that. Do have fun, do the most. But lo and behold,
So you're there. You're working. You got a day job. When did you start to? Was radio the first thing you? Because you started working at a small station,
mhm.
uh Harlem, was it?
Yeah, WHCR 90.3 FM New York in Harlem. Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that the first gig you got for your career? Not a day job, but like you were like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, it was so prior to that, when I was leaving from Chicago, I was taking night classes at Illinois Center for Broadcasting, ICB, which is now Illinois Media School, IMS. And I met some people there that did radio, and they were like, "Hey, while you're moving to New York, we'll let you have your own online show for WLGK Logic Radio." And I was like, "Cool, I'll do that." So weekly, I was doing my own show, my own internet show online. And as my time started to shorten at CBS, I was like, "Okay, I need to figure out something else." And I knew that my time was coming up because not only was I doing my weekly radio show, but aside from working my 9 to 5, I knew some folks that were doing podcasting at CBS Radio's Play.it at the time, which was their podcasting arm. And if I wasn't doing auditioning or I wasn't reading scripts, I was going there and I was producing some of the shows there, making a little bit here and there. So I was already starting to build, okay, let me start saving stuff so that way I can have it for whenever this day comes. And when that day of, hey, CBS is over with, it's not happening, WHCR was where I was going to say, okay, I'm gonna do this radio show here. I'm gonna also see about potentially getting advertising for the show for the station, and if at the very least, seeing if I can do it online to be able to help pay a few bills here and there. And at the same time, I was also interviewing to produce shows, and eventually ended up producing an online political show. From there was just kind of like the start of things, being like, okay, the producer in me and figuring out how to make things work and how to keep things going is happening. And that's what kind of activated all of the, all right, we got to learn how to really do this ourselves, began to occur.
I love that. So now you're in New York, you're in radio, and you start doing a YouTube channel.
Yes. So funny story how we got to that YouTube channel. I'm always somebody like, a lot of people didn't enjoy him at the time. I was somebody that absolutely loved him. I still love him to this day. Reaction videos on YouTube, just because in college I was always the guy that, oh, a new song came out, I'm running to my friends like, oh, we're about to listen to it right now. Or like a new movie trailer came out, like, hey, turn your TV on. Let's try and find it right now on YouTube so that way we can watch it and talk about it and see what we thought. So for me, that was kind of a way to be able to get that same feeling back that I didn't have with my friends anymore because I was in New York by myself. So I was like, you know what? To be able to do some of that and recapture that feeling with people would be cool to me. So I want to be able to do that and just have fun with it and just be like, yo, cool. I can build an online presence doing this. That would be awesome. But more so, I just want to have fun, and this is a cool way for me to be able to have fun and to build my name. In doing that, I needed a camera. Like before, I was just using my phone, and while that was cool, I was like, I need like a Canon camera. So I'm producing for Bold Global Media, which was a bipartisan news and entertainment show. We got paid like once a month there. So I was really like penny pinching and budgeting as much as I could. There was one day where I was like, hey guys, I got to leave a little early to go get this camera that's being dropped off. And then I'm going to come right back to the office. So I was like, I just can't have anything happen with this camera because we had some packages stolen. And I'll be damned if my camera got stolen. I paid too much for that. So I got to be there. So I go there to get the camera. I'm like waiting at the door, checking my phone, make sure I don't miss anything, waiting at the door. And then I get a phone call as I see the truck pulling up. I was like, oh, great, I'm about to get the camera. So I answer the phone without even looking. I'm like, hello? And it was my boss. And my boss had called and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? She's like, hey, is everything all right? I was like, yeah. I just, I let everybody know. And I know I had told you prior, I was just coming to get my camera and just to make sure because I've had some packages being stolen. I'm coming right back to the office. I'm not far from the train at all. She's like, no, that's fine. Are you around anybody right now? And I was like, why are you asking me this question? No, I'm just at home. Like, what's going on? Lo and behold, they had to lay me off.
Oh my
And that
goodness.
happened literally as like I'm getting the news of this as the guy's walking up to give me the camera. And this is like, this honestly, it might, December 22nd is today. It might be around this time because I remember it was a few days before
Oh,
Christmas. So I
oh
was like
man.
distraught. And I remember calling my dad and just being like, I might have to sell this camera back. Like just return this camera. I have no other way of being able to do this. He was like, you know how long you've been talking about getting you a camera and being able to do all these things and using this camera to be able to record auditions and to do these YouTube videos and to go and interview people. No, we will find a way. You will find a way. You cannot give that camera back. So, in doing that and in believing that and being like, you know what? He's partially right. I have been talking about this for a while. This is something I wanted to do. I started my YouTube channel, and that really helped me to pick it up. Like again, I had begun it with my phone camera, But this really helped me to be able to say, okay, now I can do 2 or 3 videos a day. Now I can like really knock this out, and then I can like edit it myself. So that way weekly I have X amount of videos that are coming. And now I'm building like same as how every Sunday 9 o'clock everybody's going to watch HBO. Now Tuesday 7 o'clock, Melvin's gonna have a new video coming on his page. Or Thursday 7 o'clock, Melvin's gonna have a new video on his page. Or on Monday nights, I'm gonna live stream me doing the radio show. And just really started to build programming that way so that I could get everybody that was watching it in a habit. And it was tough at first. Nobody tells you, but them first like 10 to 100 YouTube subscribers are the hardest thing in the world to get, because you just got
I
people
would
looking
say the
at you.
first 1,000 is the hardest to get.
I'm uh,
It
I'm
took
not
me
knocking
so
that.
long. Let me just say this, because I've been doing YouTube videos for 13 years now. Um, every week, uh, putting out videos, and the first 1,000 was the most difficult for me, and then I got to 2,500, and it stayed there for I don't know how long. It did not change until a year and a half ago. I'm now at 125,000. Had I given up year 5, 8, 10, 11, I would have missed out. So I know how challenging it is. I know how challenging it is. What I love about your story and as you are on your journey is your discipline, your focus, and your persistence to honor your craft and your vision, to just keep going. Okay, what can I do? How can I move the ball? What do I need to do? And what I want whoever is watching this or listening to this is understanding that whatever it is that you want to do takes time. It takes time. We've been sold a bad bill of goods saying, oh, yeah, you can be an influencer and you can get 1 million subscribers. And yes, you can, but it may not be in a year, 2 years, 3 years. It takes time to be an artist. It takes time. You have to allow process to be what it is. If you're writing, it takes time because you got to do the you got to write it, rewrite it, rewrite it, rewrite it. I don't know how many rewrites you did for Baldi, but I'm assuming it was more than 5.
Oh, absolutely. I completely rewrote it 2 or 3 times. Like page one, complete rewrite. And I'm so glad looking back on everything, again, scope of things now, that all those things happened, because everything that did resulted in this version of me that we have now, that was able to do those things and able to have the patience to stick with those things, because now I know how things work. I know that they just don't happen overnight. And if something were to happen to me back then overnight, who's to say I would have been able to handle it? I could have been at a point of, oh, this is great. Everything's going to be like this now. I don't have to do any more real work. And now everything that I work for is going to go away because I didn't put in the legwork to have the reps to be able to keep things going.
When did you start getting into doing production work, like in film and television? Because there's a period where you just start working and you're on all these shows and all these films. And what was that process for you?
There were 2 periods. The first was while I was still doing advertising. I would occasionally take days off here and there because I used to go and be an extra for some of the live shows that they would have at Paramount. And I would specifically go and be an extra at like some of the Wild and Out stuff that they would have. And I would talk to the PAs. I would go and ask them like, "Hey, how do I work with you guys? How do I become a PA?" And they brought me on to like some of the reality TV stuff. And while it was cool, I was like, "This ain't really. I don't really want to do reality TV. I want to go back to taking it back a little bit further. In Chicago, I was an extra in the first 2 episodes of Empire. So I remember what that was like, being on that soundstage and being like, oh my God, like Taraji P. Henson is like right there. She's like acting. Like, this is so cool to be able to watch and to be able to learn from. And I wanted to get back to being able to do that. So they would hit me up for more reality stuff. And I was like, yo, this is cool, but like, how do you find out your next job? And they're like, it just happens. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if you come work with us more full time, we can show you. And I was like, I'm a little terrified to be able to jump into that, because me working 9 to 5, I don't. What do you mean? I don't know when my next job is coming. I don't know how this works. I don't really want to do that. So over time and through the years, I started learning a little bit more and more, and just helping out with other projects. So I would even go to the public access station that was here, Manhattan Neighborhood Network, that was in Manhattan, and just go and spend time there and be like, if somebody's shooting a public access show, let me help you. Let me learn the camera. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let me PA here. Just everything I could, so that way I could like learn more and more, spend more time on set. So, and at the same time, similar to what happened with Khan, I'm telling everybody that would listen, would love to be able to PA whenever something comes up. I'm walking past productions telling people, here's my name, here's my card, here's my phone number. If you need somebody, I'm around. And all in all, none of that is happening on that end. We get to the pandemic, and it's at that point where I'm like, yo, I don't have a job right now. I mean, nobody has a job right now, but I might have to move back to Chicago. I don't know what else I can do right now to be able to make this work. So I'm watching some of the NBA games, and one of my buddies, my roommate, actually, same roommate who we overwhelmed with all them jobs before, he was PAing, and he was saying, "Hey, there's this indie film that a friend of ours is working on, and some PAs have dropped out, and they're asking, are you available?" And I was like, "Absolutely, yes, whatever you need, I'm here for it." And I'm so thankful, because this goes back like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. The person he's speaking with on the phone, and I had a phone conversation about, I would love to PA, and she was a producer at the time, like a managing producer, and then she became a line producer, then an AUPM, UPM, so on and so forth. But at the time, I was just telling her, hey, if you got anything, like, I would love to PA. I'm just around. She's like, yeah, okay, cool, sure. And it all came full circle at that point, because she was like, okay, like, are you ready? And I was like, absolutely, like whatever it is that you need. So I start PAing October 2020, middle of the pandemic. Like I'm a COVID PA slash driving PA, for this indie film called On Our Way. And I had to go get the van to drive, and then I'm picking up different crew members, getting all the equipment. And in my head, I'm like, "Oh, we about to shoot something in New York," so I'm putting in the address, and I was like, "Oh, Montauk, okay, that's not that far." Then I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god, we need to stop and get gas right now before I get on this road," because I'm already about to get fired because I didn't check how far this was and I didn't get enough gas for it. So we right before our last stop on the highway. I got some gas, and then I'm driving everybody all the way out to Montauk, and we're shooting. And we get out there, and then I go from driving PA to walkie PA to I go over here and do this lockup. I'm like, what's a lockup? Like, what am I supposed to be stopping? Am I stopping people? Am I stopping the tumbleweed? I'm standing on the cliff. Like, we're shooting on the other side. What am I doing here? So just step by step. But everybody sees that, like everybody saw that I was green, but everybody also saw that I'm like running over, doing whatever I can to help, whatever I can do. And they're like, oh, like he's hungry. Like he really wants to do this. And through all of that, I went from being driving PA to like equipment PA to walkie PA to key PA to eventually getting the second credit, because of how much stuff that I was doing and everything that I was helping along with. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm telling all the other ADs, like, hey, if you know of anything else that's going on, just let me know. And I'll be more than happy to do the work. And this is that period of, hey, your next job will come when it comes. And I'm like, I don't know what to do now. So I'm just, all right, I guess I'll just trust the process. And our first AD at the time had a buddy that was working on City on a Hill in their COVID department as their COVID coordinator, and was like, hey, the guy that I got has to leave. Do you have anybody that could be available? And because I had been talking to everybody and telling them what I wanted to do, I was the first name that came up. So then from there, it went from working on that indie project to now me going and driving again. It got all the PPE, all the COVID equipment and whatnot in the back. Going to pick up this guy that just hired me, my boss, and we're driving 2 hours out to the set before anybody else is there, setting up all the COVID equipment. And I'm there and I'm looking and I'm like, this is how a union set works. I'm learning everything. Like I'm seeing the crew come in, I'm seeing the trucks come in. I'm so excited that when lunch opens up and I'm like, yo, we get to have all this food? Like it's just for us? Like I'm asking them afterwards, do y'all got food left over? Can I take this home? Like I'm just that excited to be there. So I'm just really taking it all in, but also learning like what are the PAs doing? What are the ADs doing? What are the grips doing? What are the gaffers doing? And yeah, I'm like looking at the directors and such. And I'm even talking to some of the actors. Like I got to speak with Aldous Hodge and Kevin Bacon all the time. And being able to see them do their work that close, because I'm also the person that's holding their PPE, so that way they can put their mask and everything back on. But being able to see them in the scene, being able to see them work, this goes back to me seeing Taraji as an extra as well, and just being able to see how they get prepared and everything that they're doing, and all of this just rolls into more production work for me.
Okay, so let's talk about on-set etiquette as a PA, because you just mentioned you got to talk to them. There is a etiquette between the crew and talent, that when talent is up working, you are not to disturb them. How do you start to uh build a relationship with talent when you are crew, without being annoying, without being intrusive, without being, because you people get fired behind that. It's like, oh, that guy is annoying, get rid of him.
And I've seen it happen time and time again. The way that I go about it is, that old age, treat everybody how you want to be treated. When somebody's focused and doing their job, and you know that they're there to do their job, let them do their job. There will be times and opportunity where spaces will come up when you'll be able to talk to them. So if I'm gonna use Aldous Hodge as an example. If I'm the PA assigned to Aldous for the day, in terms of like having all his like his mask and all his personal equipment and everything, right? If I see he's like going over a line or in an intense phone conversation, or if I'm like reading the sides beforehand and knowing it's gonna be an intense day, this is probably not the day that I want to ask him how he got his start in the business. You know, like, hey, look, it's just not today, and that's fine. But when there is a moment, or if I see him just kind of off to himself, not really doing too much, or if we have like a long walk somewhere from getting out of the van, and I can see that his demeanor is kind of more open today, this might be a day where I may ask that question. Or might be like, hey, do you mind if I ask you a question? That's the first thing. Some people will just come out and be like, so when you acted in this project, right, you were, and it's the complete wrong way of doing it. You wouldn't want anybody to walk up to you at your job and just start asking you random questions. So do you mind if I even ask you a question? Right. But that's also after we've had the introduction of, hey, my name is Melvin Taylor II. I'm going to be doing this, this, and this for you today, so that he knows what my role is, so that there isn't any confusion on who is this person that's just following me around. Like I'm there and I've already been there and they've seen me doing my job. They see me being serious about my job, and they know that that's primarily what I'm there for. And with that, by proxy, now the ability to ask him a question has been opened up. Not me just, hey, yeah, I'm doing my job, but can I really ask you something? Like this comes first. And with them knowing that I'm there for that, and because of this, I have your back. I'm not just flinging your mask everywhere or your shield anywhere or whatever, just leaving it somewhere, because you know I'm taking this serious. Now you're also going to take me serious when I ask you something.
I love that. A couple of things that have continued to come up during this interview. One is about money and your savings, and how are you bridging the period where no money is coming in and continuing to take care of yourself as an artist. And the reason why I ask this question is, a lot of times you have actors who want, they want to be acting right away. And so they don't have a job, they're struggling, they haven't any savings and now they're a burden on other people. How were you taught to make sure you have savings to take care of your stuff?
Honestly, it came from inexperience. Like my parents had told me to do some of these things. I didn't listen. I was like, it'll be okay. It'll figure itself out. But it came to that point of, during COVID when I was like, I might have to move back to Chicago, that I had to have that sobering realization of I didn't listen. Like I didn't put enough aside that I should have. I didn't really budget the way that I should have to be able to save for a rainy day. When my time at CBS was cut and they had layoffs, I didn't have enough money saved up. Like I was thankful that I was able to like start doing stuff right away to be able to help bring some money in. But at the time, I was scared then too of I might have to go back because I don't have enough put together already, right? So it really became as I started working, going back to that budgeting my time and saying, all right, do I have enough to cover my bills? If I got that, everything else has to be dedicated towards this. But ultimately, if I don't have enough to cover my bills, I can't even get to the creative part of it. Or I'm just going to have to sacrifice sleep at one point in time. And while earlier in my career, I was like, I'm definitely going to do that. As I get a little bit older, not going to do that as much because now I'm learning you can't burn both ends of the candle because now you're not even going to have the same creative output that you really want to have to be on top of mind and to be as sharp as what you need to be. So it came down to working odd jobs. I was still, my degree, my minor was in print journalism. So I was writing for different websites at that point in time to be able to bring in jobs. Or I'm working like, hey, you need me to put something together? Do you need me to dog walk? Do you need me to do whatever it is that we can figure out how to bring money in? It was what I was gonna do to be able to keep things going so that I can make it happen. Do you need somebody to work security? Do you need somebody to film you or to take pictures for an event that you're doing, whatever I could do. And as I started to work on set, just budgeting correctly. So that way, now that I have enough, budget correctly so that in between those times where I don't have a job, I can stretch this out as far as I can.
So, with that being said, as the show is called Acting Smarter Now, how are you acting smarter now with your career and your day job?
Great question. The way in which I'm acting smarter now would be really splitting that time and going back to budgeting and saying, okay, I'm now competent enough in some of the functions that I have to do for my job that I know how to do some of them like the back of my hand. So I know that in order to do this, this, and this, I need to do these things. As I have auditions coming in from my manager, now I'm giving myself the time of, okay, do I have 2 days, 3 days to be able to get this audition in? Great. The sooner I can jump on this to be able to start memorizing, the better. So that way, maybe tomorrow, not even today, maybe tomorrow or maybe the day that it's due, I now have worked on it so much in my head, in my in between time, in my lunchtime, in my ride to work, in my ride from work, when I'm back home, on the subway, wherever, where now I can, cool, let me get my setup together and I can go right into it while knowing everything that I have to do. Prior then it was, all right, cool, I'm gonna read it and then I'm just gonna let me still do everything else that I gotta do, but I just don't have enough time to. No, let me make sure that I have enough time for everything so I can be as prepared as I possibly can so that I'm putting my best foot forward so that in these auditions you're seeing the fresh version of me and not somebody that's run down from doing a 16, 17, 18 hour day. While I still might be tired, I'm still able to turn it on because now I'm not just reading and also trying to do this audition at the same time. I know this because I've been going over it the past 2 days, and I know now the moments in my day where I can conserve some energy so that I have some for later on when I need to do this audition. So being able to save myself throughout the day is helping me so that as I'm at home later or on my weekends, budgeting my time correctly so that I can be as full and as present and as vibrant as I need to be during these auditions or whatever it is that I'm acting in. And another thing, going back to the writing portion of it, I can act smarter now because I'm not just leaving the entire process of what my career is going to be into other people's hands. I'm writing my own projects so that way I can give myself enough time to be able to showcase what my abilities are. I had a conversation with my manager where I was given a submission report and I did the numbers on it, and the amount of things that I was sent out slash auditioned for versus the amount that were converted, the amount of things that I even got to read for or actually booked were so minuscule that I had to have a conversation with myself and saying, if you're going to do this, you're gonna have to write. Because there's no way that I'm gonna leave my career up to chance. Just, oh, somebody's gonna discover me and everything's gonna happen. The numbers don't say that, buddy. The numbers don't show that at all. But if that's what you're relying on, a less than 5% chance of somebody finding you, you're gonna be lost for this entire way, this entire journey. So being able to write, such as what I did with Baldy, and being able to use that to propel the career forward is what's gonna help me in processing and progress.
So, in your auditions, when do you get coaching? Are you someone who will get coached on certain things? Are you someone who just, I can figure this out on my own?
I've been more so someone who's figured it out on their own, but I've been thankful to other actors that I've met, other directors that I've met, and coaching that I have done. Like when I'm not doing a project, right? When I'm not working on set, I will use those months if I'm not writing or acting in something to take classes. And as a part of those classes, some of the classes that I will take are audition classes, so that way I can go over my technique and be able to have that accessibility to somebody to say, hey, if you're doing an audition and you want somebody to look over it beforehand, now you can send it to me. So some of those same actors, writers, and people, teachers that I've had some of those classes are now open for me to be able to say, if you have an audition that you want me to take a look at, send it over to me and I'll be able to do it. So that way I can get quality feedback on, "Yeah, you should do more of this or you should do more of that, or how much of the show that you're auditioning for did you watch, and does the tape that you're sending fit the vibe of the show or fit the character that's going to be in this particular part of the show."
I think that's great. And I would add to it, and this is for every actor watching and or listening, is that you want to start layering in coaching when you are auditioning, because what that does for you is it raises your bookability. It's like the more you get coached, because we can't always, as the actor reading the stuff, we can't always see all the angles. And when we have someone who will coach us, who knows us already, they know our acting ability, they know where our weak areas are, and they could go, okay, I know you like to do that, but let's go here. That it really does increase your being able to get booked, because it's about you bringing different choices. Most actors are reading the page, but they're not bringing to the self tape what isn't on the page, because most people who get cast are getting cast not because they can read the lines or memorize the lines, but they're bringing something different that nobody else is. And so I just want to throw that out, because I think sometimes we want to be acting, we want to be doing it, but we leave out crucial steps that can really amp our bookability. You know, it's like if I want to be acting, I want to be on set all the time. When I'm auditioning, do I have somebody that I can say, hey, can can I book 15 minutes with you? Can I book half an hour with you? Here, let me send you the side. I've done my work, what I think it is. And if you can give me any tweaks here, like, is there something that you see that I don't see? That it really does increase your being able to get booked. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you, so you're not going to get booked no matter what you do, because they're looking for something so specific. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of times where just getting coached will take you over. And something that I will say to all actors right now is that two things you cannot, well, three things you cannot scrimp on is your headshots. You got to take excellent headshots. You can't think I'm going to take headshots for $100 and that's it. No, your headshots have to nail what it is that you sell. The second thing is your auditions. If you're doing self tapes, you got to make sure that you have a area where you're doing your self tapes that you can nail your stuff visually, because they're going to give you maybe 30 seconds, and if you don't have it in that first 30 seconds, they've moved on. They've got 999 other submissions for that one part. So you got to make sure your setup for your self tape is tight. And then the third thing is getting coached and having a reader, a good reader to work off of. So I just wanted to throw that little side thing into this, because you are doing amazing work for yourself. And in order to get you to the next level, you may want to look at, not just, it's not just a mind thing of, well, I got to do better in my auditions. I need to have better ammunition. And that ammunition comes in the form of coaching. It comes in the form of, maybe for this audition, maybe instead of me doing a self tape by myself, maybe let me go pay to, I've worked with Charlie, and Charlie is really good at reading and putting the self tape together. Maybe let me see what happens with that, because when I started acting, you just went in the office, you read. If they liked you, they called you back. You got to meet all the producers, and then you knew if you got the job or not. Now it's a whole different ball of wax. They're expecting you to set up that self tape like a little movie. And so you have a lot more at stake. There's a lot more that you have to do. And with the industry changing, where it's gotten to be about Wall Street and how much money you make, and so they're not really taking care of the actors. And if you're lucky to book a series, they'll shoot you out maybe in a week or 2 weeks, depending on how much you have. They're not giving you that time that you used to get. Like, I'm on a series, I'm going to work at least 7 6 7 months. I'm going to see a check. No, you may see three checks in 3 weeks, and that's it. They've shot all your scenes out, and they've done it that way. So just so things are really on a whole different level. And how do you set yourself up to win, knowing that there's so much competition? It's not a negative, it's just knowing there's a lot of competition, so I need to come with the goods. I say that because you are really disciplined. You are really looking at your stuff. This may be another area to go, okay, how do I up my game in my audition? So I just wanted to say that. The other thing I want to ask you is, because you've done a lot, are you a goal setter? Do you like make your goals and go, okay, this is what I'm gonna work on this year or this quarter? I want to get this done. How do you figure things out that you want to do?
I in the past I was a really really big goal setter. Over the course of what we've been able to do with Baldy, I did have some goals up front, and I just kind of like let things happen, so to speak, as we went from there. But I'm more of a around this time, actually, end of the year person. Okay, let's look at everything that happened over this last year. Let's look at where I was in 2024 and what I wanted to do in 2025 and what were we able to do. And now let's look forward to 2026 and set some new ones. I used to be the person that have I got a list of 30 things that I'm about to this year we about to do all of this, and now I've shrunken that down to probably between these 5 to 7 things are what I really want to do. And I know that out of being able to do those, the steps that it's going to take to get there will accomplish those other 23 things that would have been on the list. So rather than just, all right, I got to do this, it's like, here are 5 things, and of these 5, around those, each one, 2 or 3 things out of that is going to help me encompass all of it.
What do you want to accomplish in the next 3 years? Where would you like to be?
Over the next 3 years, what I would like to accomplish is I would like to move on to features and TV series in terms of writing. I am already writing pilots right now, and I'm writing a feature right now as well. Not only do I want to have those done, but done, shot, in the marketplace and out for the world to see would be amazing. And I want to move to a place of not just booking series day player work, but moving into lead character, main character work, so that I can really take hold of the visions that I do have for myself, because I know it's possible for me to be able to do it. It's just like you said, transitioning from what we're doing right now, taking those next steps to being able to do it. And that's no disrespect to any series regular work or anything that I've seen. Like I've absolutely seen it. I know it's great, and it would be amazing to be able to do that. But I know where I want to go with my career. I am a leading man, and I want to be able to show and prove that through the work that I'm able to do with things that other people create, as well as the work that I'm able to create for myself and those around me.
I love it. I thank you so much for this. You brought so much good information for film festivals and for young actors who are wanting to make it. I believe that if you really want to make it, you will. No matter what is out there, you will make it because of determination and hard work. And you are someone who brings that in boatloads. You have that
Thank you.
determination and you have that focus. And so I'm just grateful for you. I thank you for doing for talking to us today. I can't wait to hear what you do in 3 years, let alone one. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Thank you, Lydia. It was a pleasure to be here with you. It's been a pleasure to get to know you, even from the first few times that we spoke all the way up till now. I'm so thankful for you and all the coaching, all the advice that you've given me, and everything that has helped me to take my career and my personal life to the next level. Thank you so much for convincing me to go to South of France and just being like, well, you to figure out a way, because we were able to figure out a way to make it work. And I'm so excited for what's to come next for both of us to see what all we can do.
Amen. Well, that's it for today's episode of Acting Smarter Now. If this conversation has helped you to rethink how you create and submit your work, I would love to know in the comments below. And you can support this show by buying me a cup of coffee, because it really does help keep these real practical conversations going. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned for the next episode coming up that is chock full of tools to help you, the actor, build a career that is intentional, strategic, and actually sustainable.